Hey Chem Kids, Mrs. Campbell here. You know how when you're playing with balloons, they don't naturally just stick to your head, but if you rub them on your clothes, then you can get them to stick? Why does that happen? Well, what you're doing actually is you're charging the balloons. It's kind of like an atom. So when we rub the balloon on our clothes, we're actually stripping electrons off our clothes and putting them on the balloons. And now they stick. Charged stuff are sticky. Okay, so how does that relate to an atom? Well, an atom, right, when it's neutral, has an equal number of protons and electrons. But if it loses an electron or it gains an electron, it's going to become charged. Now, weird thing, remember electrons are negative, so that means if we lose an electron, we have a positive charge, and that's actually called an ion. Or if we gain electrons, right, because electrons are negative, that means we become negative in charge, or a negative ion. Now, we show that an element is charged using our symbol notation that we talked about in the last video by using superscripts to the right of the element symbol. So if an atom gains a positive, an element gains a positive charge, it shows that it lost an electron. So like here, Fe is a symbol for iron, and this +2 here indicates that iron lost 2 electrons. If an atom becomes negatively charged, so it's gaining electrons, then I have a superscript that's a negative charge. So here's fluorine, F stands for fluorine, with a -1. That means it gained 1 electron. Hey, remember this notation we used in the last video? Remember the thing up at the top right called the mass number? This fluorine element, let's say it has a mass number of 19. So tell me how many protons, neutrons, and electrons a fluorine atom has when it's neutral, and then how many does it have when it's charged? Well, that means we need to go to the periodic table, right? So pull out your periodic table and find out what the atomic number of fluorine is, right? And that'll tell you what the number of protons are. Well, if you do that, right, the number of protons in a fluorine atom is 9 because its atomic number is 9, right? And if it's neutral, that means it has 9 electrons. Now, to find out the number of neutrons, right, we take protons, we take our mass number, right, 19 minus 9, and we get 10 neutrons. But here, if we have our ion of fluorine with a charge of -1, remember -1 means I gained electrons. So that means I don't have 9 anymore. I actually have 10. Now, I know that's weird, right? Because in math, when we have negatives, right, numbers get smaller. But unfortunately, electrons have a negative charge. So if we are gaining electrons, we're gaining negative charge. So, think of it this way. If I lose electrons, right, I'm losing negativity and I'm becoming more positive. And if I'm gaining electrons, I'm gaining negativity, so I get more negative. All right, let's try some practice. All right, so I have 2 elements here. I want you to be able to name the element, tell me the number of protons, electrons, and neutrons. Pause the video. All right, so this is calcium. Ca is calcium. If you look at calcium on the periodic table, you'll see that it has an atomic number of 20, which means it has 20 protons. The +2, remember, means that it lost electrons. It's losing negativity, so it's becoming more positive. So we're actually going to subtract 2, and we get 18. And, of course, we have our mass number of 42, so if we subtract 20 from that, we get 22 neutrons. All right, how about oxygen? You look it up on the periodic table. How many protons does oxygen have? Well, it has 8, right? Its atomic number is 8. Electrons, right, -2 means I am gaining negativity. I'm gaining electrons, so I'm going to add 2 to the 8, and I get 10 electrons. And then to find neutrons, we take 16 and we subtract 8, and we get 8. How'd you do? See you in class.